great to see all that footage of the auctions and all the activity. Look, it is a very exciting business. Even though it's been a bit flat, it's just a great business to be in property. And now, a very good friend of mine and someone that I go back a long way with, Mrs. Karen Raffin is in the studio, and she's the CEO of Advantage SA. Welcome, Karen.
Thanks, Anthony. Good to see you.
Yeah. Now, Karen, before we get into what's happening in South Australia, just give us a bit of a rundown for the viewers. The CEO of what is basically, everyone knows, SA Great. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Am I allowed to say that?
Well, old SA Great, evolution of SA Great, we now say.
Okay. And now, Karen, just a background. Who are you? Where you're from? Family? What's the story?
So, Adelaide girl, born and bred in Adelaide. So I grew up in the Adelaide Hills and kind of went into the city for a little while to live, and now back in the hills and loving it. So property up there. Worked all the way through in Adelaide. So kind of some iconic companies when I went through. So cookware company when I was young, iconic herd family in Adelaide, San Remo, and obviously with you guys, TOOP+TOOP, so I worked with you for 7 years. And Perks, accounting and financial services firm, who, great guys, do a really good job. And on to here for Advantage SA. So I've been very lucky that I've had a great career here in Adelaide. Now, Karen, a loaded question, but where was the best place you've ever worked? Oh God, what should I say to that one? Yeah, I loved my time at TOOP, so I feel pretty blessed actually that I had the opportunity to do what I did. So yeah, always look back with that time fondly, and obviously still catch up with lots of the guys as part of the team, so it's good.
Now, Karen, Advantage SA, tell us about what the agenda is. What do you try and achieve? Why do you go to work? At the start of the day, at the end of the day, what is it that you're about?
So for me, I guess if I start with why I went to that job, it was about being the positive voice for the state. So we work across every industry sector, and it's about showcasing everything that's amazing about South Australia. So I wake up every morning and I'm working in a different space in South Australia on a different topic. So it's really varied, but it's all about everything that's amazing about the state. So one day I'll be talking about new defence contracts that we might have won. Or was it renewable energy? So South Australia is one of the best states in renewable energy in Australia, which is pretty exciting for the state. To being in part of the Adelaide Fashion Festival week, to, I don't know, last night being part of Roger Rashid's new foundation that he's running, helping disadvantaged kids in South Australia. So you just go, who else gets to do the most diverse job that I get to do? And it's all about South Australia. Awesome.
Now, you're out just every night, and you've got all the regionals and that I know that you attend. So the awards, and tell me about the awards system.
So we run 2 different awards programs. One is regional awards, because for us, the regions are such a huge part of South Australia, and they kind of get forgotten sometimes from some support mechanisms. So we've just finished doing regional awards across the 7 regions. We follow the RDO regional boundaries. And on Friday night, we have our big gala dinner. So all of the winners across all of the 7 regions, 13 categories in each region, are coming together, and we'll be showcasing a winner in each category, so sort of the state winner for each. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Where are you holding it?
So Intercontinental of Adelaide, so they've been a sponsor as part of the awards program, so big thank you to them for their support. Yeah, black tie, gala dinner, 250 people on Friday night. It's going to be amazing, really good.
Now, just who's behind it? Is it the media? My understanding is the media, and who's on the board? So
we were founded by the media, late sort of 70s, early 80s. So I currently have 4 media people on my board. So my chairman is Frank Velosi, head of Network 10. Mm-hmm. I have Ish Davies, head of News Limited, as my deputy chair.
With him on the weekend?
Yeah, great guy. James Pedersen, who's the general manager of Southern Cross Oz Stereo, is my treasurer. And Paul Ashenden, who's one of the sub-editors with News Limited, is also on my board. So, and then apart from that, we have lots of really amazing business people. A couple of identities of South Australia. So Liza Emanuel, for example, who often...
She's great.
She's awesome, dresses me beautifully every now and then, so thank you, Liza. Yeah, so we're really blessed. We've got a really creative, innovative board who work with us.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about funding being cut by government and lots of rumours, not recently, but over the years. Well, what's the latest update on how you're travelling, whether you're still relevant, and is it a really exciting future?
So for us, I think almost we're more relevant than ever. So, businesses are finding it tough at times out there. So for us, it's about how do we support the corporate network, whether it's, a one-man band little business through to one of the big corporates in Adelaide, and helping give them some showcase and voice in South Australia. So I think we're as relevant now as we ever were in the state. And in terms of funding, about 1/3 of our funding comes from state government. The rest of it is membership or sponsorships that we raise. So look, I think like everyone, you know, there's talk about what's going to happen from a funding perspective. You know, the government's, you know, in some tricky spots perhaps in some of their funding bits. So, but we're not, you know, I think from our perspective, we're in a really strong position. So I'm not concerned about where that's going.
So apart from funding, you're completely independent from the government, so you can be your own voice?
Yep, so we're a not-for-profit, we're not a government agency. So that's the great thing that we add, is being able to be credible and third party. So we can have an opinion on something when, you know, non-government focused, we don't go for either party, we get to sit in the middle. So yeah, it's a good position to be in.
Now, how do you find the old name versus the new name?
Look, I think it's interesting. At the time that they made the change, it was done for some very specific reasons. You know, any time you try and change a brand that's 30 years old, I think there's always a time limit. You know, there's a timing factor in terms of people getting used to a new brand. And look, we won't say that forever. You know, SO Great's been parked at the moment. It was one of the brands in our stable. It's not something that we have currently been using. Whether we look at rebringing that back in the future, you know, that's a possibility, I guess. But at the moment, it's Advantage SA is our corporate name.
Right, now let's change horses a little bit. Oh, by the way, you ride horses.
I do ride horses, yeah.
We'll change from red to another horse. And now I'm really keen to know what are the, say, the top 4 best things that are happening in the state.
So I think from a defence perspective, it's looking like we've just won some new contracts from a defence sense. So that's going to be fabulous for South Australia in terms of that coming through, particularly for the port area, hopefully, which was a bit close to our heart, Anthony.
Oh, yes, indeed. We both own property down there, don't we?
So that would be nice with that kicking on. And there's certainly some plans in terms of where the port's heading at the moment, so that will be really positive. You know, I think the big initiative in focusing on premium food and wine as one of the new government leadership things is really important. And, you know, the state's known for premium food and wine, so a big push in terms of promoting that interstate. What else? I mean, I guess there's lots of things. Big push on fashion at the moment, so trying to, you know, position Adelaide in terms of a fashion sense. We've got some amazing young designers coming through, so that will be awesome. And obviously tourism is doing some amazing work. I was actually yesterday with 30 of the South Australian Tourism Commission reps from all around the world who were here doing a famil in Adelaide and understanding what South Australia's got to offer for them to be able to promote it. So, you know, that's a pretty cool thing from a tourism perspective.
Just a matter of interest, who's the new tourism CEO?
So my understanding is that they're still on the search for that.
Okay.
Jane Jeffries is still stepping in at the moment as the in-place situ CEO as they're looking for a new one.
And you have a lot to do with them?
Yeah, we do. We work closely with tourism, you know, as one of the industry sectors that we work across. David O'Loughlin, who heads up their marketing, is a great guy, really passionate about getting South Australia going. And obviously Jane's really well known in South Australia and she's been doing a great job in terms of keeping it in check in the meantime. So yeah, they're a good group.
Karen, we're going to come back with more questions later.
Cool, thanks.
Now let's go and look at some sold properties that are going.